She spent a summer building houses in Calcutta, where she met my dad, Sanjay.
Your mother fly to India， 这是为什么它有这个地毯 ？Holy moly！ 哦，行吧，这家好多人啊！天哪！
Religion was another thing my mom never talked about, but I think it helped her a lot after her dad died. My mom moved to India a week after graduation and got a job teaching English. Louis was born a year later.
Louis.
When my dad died, I don't think Mom knew where else to go. I'm sure Edie was happy to have her back. And to see kids in the house again. The house had to get a little bigger, but Edie was used to that. And for a while, things were good. Almost normal.
惊了，这个家还有一个学校啊！天哪，什么都有。
But it didn't last. The beginning of the end was Milton's 10th birthday, when Edie gave him a castle. I think Edie was happy to finally have another painter in the family.
That's cute. 我也好想要一个这样的家。这一家人全死了，那这个死的方式真是 amazing。
Milton Finch in The Magic Paintbrush. I was 4 when Milton disappeared. Mom spent months searching for my brother. Then she sealed the doors. Whatever Milton had found in the house, Mom didn't want it getting out.
天哪，这个房子也太大了吧！从哪儿到哪儿啊？我靠，惊了 ！Way to the top。
Mom definitely blamed Edie, but I think Louis blamed himself. After he graduated, he just spent more and more time in his room, until Mom got him a job at the cannery.
Wow, this is fancy. 这是谁的房子？天啊，原来住在船上呢。
Louis's room smelled very, very familiar.
Wow.
That part of him lived on.
Damn. I like this room. 哦，哎，他这个说法真的是歧视印度人吗？这个我是印度水烟，还有游戏机呢。哎呦 ，Family Com。电视呢？电视咋没了？ High school plot. Oh, wow. Okay. Fine. That's a big one. Oh, that's a good one. Those fish. Locked content. Sing Juan. Sing Juan. Ready? Sing Juan now.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Louis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Louis first noticed the monotony of his daily life. He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh. Wow, 这个太棒了！这个太棒了，就是我
I asked him to describe it. He said he started small, imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. Then something moved. Bats and toads. and things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head, but he took it very seriously. I had hoped he'd find himself. But he found something more.
Bloody hell.
I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery, I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused. Like a whole new Lewis. So I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend. On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him that all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination, so he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor, and he won. They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis. He started drifting away from our reality. Minneapolis, until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on. In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a handsome queen.
Stories.
The queen was on her own quest for sinister serpents. followed the sound of her silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. For someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace. My imagination is as real as my body, he told me. It was hard to argue with him. Began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt. I still thought I could save him. Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder. The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him. Waited, holding his crown. There was only one thing left to do. Down his head. rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
For the imagination. One more twist. Try.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
You die a lot. That's fun. That is fun. I really want to share this game with my friends, but it's a special game that not everyone loves it. It's not exciting. It's not a game that makes you pops up all your bloods in your brain. But it's a game of everyone in this world. It's really special. It's really special.